Season workouts are here. No D-Hop, but your boys are here. Welcome into the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable, joined as always on this fine Tuesday. Brack live at the PHNX headquarters in downtown Phoenix. It's good to be back with the Cards crew. What's left of it anyway.
Absolutely. Hearing from Jonathan Gannon today. Excited to kind of hit the ground running, get to know his players a little bit in with the new strength and strength training coaches that they added to this offseason as they kind of repaired that thing. And then, as you mentioned, no DeAndre Hopkins. That was something we saw earlier this morning. DeAndre Hopkins posting on his Instagram, on his stories. He's out there throwing out weight, and he's in a different state. He's in Texas. He's in Houston. And then you got the Arizona Cardinals out here in Tempe. But look, this is not something that people should panic about. Jonathan Gannon was asked about DeAndre Hopkins and his attendance or lack thereof. And he says, that there might be a time where he comes in here and we'll get him up to speed. But at the moment, he wasn't part of the group today. Kyler Murray was there. But it continues this conversation about DeAndre Hopkins to where you don't know what his future is with this organization. It felt going into the offseason like it was inevitable that they were going to move on, and the market seems to have stalled out, and they're at a stalemate, and now we're trying to figure out and pick up the pieces. What's next for Nuke?
What's next for Nuke? Perfect timing to welcome in our special guest for today, a Pro Football Focus Cap Insider, NFL Insider Extraordinaire, Brad Spielberger, a good friend of the program. Brad, how we doing, my guy?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing great, man. So Sunday, we get a little Easter egg here about what the DeAndre Hopkins trade market could be after Odell Beckham Jr. signs the deal, 1-year contract with the Baltimore Ravens. We're starting to get some more info on that. It's got some void years on it, so it's not like the $15 million for one season with OBJ. What does this truly mean for the Arizona Cardinals and the DeAndre Hopkins trade market?
Yeah, I think after every single free agent move, after the Brandon Cooks trade, all arguably worked against the Arizona Cardinals and against DeAndre Hopkins. This is, fortunately, a good data point working in their favor. Look, Odell Beckham Jr. hasn't played since 2021 and also, frankly, hasn't been, that guy in a couple years now. So Hopkins, yes, had the injuries, had the suspension, but when he does play, is still one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Top 10 for us in PFF grade the last 3 seasons. So not just looking, way back down the road, still top 15 in yards per route run, which is a phenomenal, efficiency metric at the receiver position. He's still a true ex-alpha number 1 wide receiver. So I think what it does is it says, maybe more so for Hopkins than for the team. If teams were saying, hey, look, we don't want to pay you $19.5 million on the first year of your deal. He says, if Odell Beckham Jr. can get $15 million fully guaranteed dollars, why can't I get 19.5? Or maybe, we'll fully guarantee 15, but I'll chop it down. Like, I think it does help him out a bit.
Brad, we were at the Combine together, and we were speculating a likely 2 for DeAndre Hopkins. What the hell is wrong with these teams? I mean, you're New York Giants in your backyard. Went and got Darren Waller. Nice addition, but then they're like, we're good. We got all the weapons we need for Danny Dimes. These teams with New England's receiving core, Kansas City, are walking around like, we're fine. We don't need an all-pro, future Hall of Fame wide receiver. And then you've got, with all due respect, people like Albert Breer who are saying, we're just waiting for the Cardinals to cut D-Hop so then we can go sign him. That's what NFL teams are leaking to Albert Breer. I mean, what is this, little disrespect coming to Monty Ossenford and company? Cardinals have to get something in return for D-Hop, right?
Yeah, I think unfortunately sometimes with these deals, you can look at value, you can look at past trades, you can look at the market, all these things, but at the end of the day, leverage can drive the entire conversation. I mean, obviously, we're seeing right now with Green Bay and New York, that is a 2-team market. I know there's all this speculation, all these things swirling around. He's not going anywhere else. He's going to be a New York Jet, and the package is going to be underwhelming. If you compare it even to, Russell Wilson last offseason, and then the Packers maybe getting 0 first-round picks for the back-to-back MVP in 2020-21. And I get, he's making $60 million next year. He could retire after one season. So what it says to me is 2 things. So first is that, the teams are thinking, There is no reason for the Arizona Cardinals to pay this man $20 million or so to play for a team that realistically could, have a top 5 pick next year. It just doesn't make any sense for them. So either they're going to dramatically reduce this price, or we're not going to enter the market. Or it says, secondly, they're getting an indication, hey, we actually would trade a decent amount, but we're not willing to give DeAndre Hopkins a new contract or new money, and he has made that clear to other teams. I know he said kind of different things, mixed messages, that he's not asking for new money or whatever. I know one podcast he said, I know my worth, I know all. So that is the other inkling, is maybe, at least like a Jalen Ramsey, where he got no new money, but he got about $30 million in newly guaranteed money, off the top of my head, maybe $20 million, but nevertheless, like, it's one of those things, I think, at play here, or both.
Yeah, it's interesting. What are the true implications? What are the solutions to a team that would potentially add a guy like D-Hop? We've gone over it. Obviously, you've got some resources you can look at, what it would look like pre-June 1st, post-June 1st. But, what are the true salary cap restrictions or implications that a team would take on? And what are the solutions that the Arizona Cardinals could potentially offer to maybe soften a blow and get a bigger package in return?
Yeah, so that's the big thing too, right? At this point, the amount of teams that even have $19.5 million in cap space right now, it's about a third of the entire NFL, right? I mean, eight or so teams. So you would have to work with it to a degree. The most popular thing you see a team do, which the Houston Texans did do with Brandon Cooks, is you convert some money into a signing bonus, because that money will stay with the original team. So the Houston Texans took $6 million of Brandon Cooks' $18 million owed this year, converted into a bonus, and kept that on their cap. And from a cash standpoint, Arizona, I guess, could do the same thing. Say, okay, you know what? We will go ahead, convert $6 or $7 million of his 2023 salary into a bonus, keep it on our books. And look, we've seen it a ton. Like during the season, Robert Quinn, the Bears did that. Roquan Smith, the Bears did that. Von Miller famously going to the Los Angeles Rams. The Denver Broncos did that. And you buy yourself better draft capital. The flip side is, the Cardinals could also say, why do we want to pay more money to do this? We kind of don't want to spend any more cash. We have all the other issues going on with the team and various other ways. Like, this maybe is the last thing we want to be doing right now. But if you can buy better draft capital, which I think they should be interested in doing, it's probably worth looking into.
Yeah, Brad, that's been our arguments. Like, explain this to me like I'm 5 years old. Wouldn't you, if you're the Arizona Cardinals and you have almost $30 million in cap space and you're rebuilding this year, like, go out and buy a second or a third round pick? It would make sense, but very few of what they've done this offseason, at least from an ownership standpoint, has made sense. Let me put you on the spot right now. We have had to kind of realistically, hedge our expectations as to what D-Hop gets. If I had to ask you right now, which I will, 2 weeks out from the NFL draft, what does D-Hop go for? You said a second when we were hanging at the combine. Is that revised now?
Yeah, it is. I do think the data point you mentioned earlier with Darren Waller going for pick 100, maybe hopefully the Cardinals cling to that and say, okay, we're at least getting a third round pick, and maybe not a compensatory third at 100, but that was a third round pick. So we want at least a third round pick, maybe more added on as well. And then it does come into, okay, well, if we convert $7-8 million, can we then buy our way back into a second? Or maybe it requires this conversion we're talking about to get an earlier third or a mid third from a certain team. So, at this point, though, it's tough. Like, Breer putting that out there certainly doesn't help.
No, Albert, it doesn't.
Yeah. But I do think, to a degree, I guess the Cardinals could also say, hey, you know what, we'll call your bluff then. We'll just keep him on the roster all the way until, August 30th or whatever. And none of you are going to add a primo number one wide receiver. You don't get training camp. You don't get chemistry with your quarterback. There are no rush to make this happen right now.
As we look at it now, what teams make sense for a guy like D-Hop as OBJ makes his way to Baltimore? You had the Chiefs kind of in the conversation. We had the Giants earlier this offseason, New England with those 11 draft picks. According to Breer, they wouldn't give any draft compensation to a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. Who do you identify still as maybe some players that could reemerge this offseason for D-Hop?
Yeah, so the Chiefs were loosely in the market for Odell Beckham Jr. I don't think they made a particularly strong or very serious offer, but they had a couple conversations. So they are still looking to add receiver talent to a degree. Are they willing to part with top end capital and pay this money? No, I really do not think they are. But again, if we get into the conversation of smoothing the finances a little bit, they do actually have a lot of ammo in this draft this year. I think honestly they have like 10 or 11 picks right now. So they could maybe get back in the conversation. I don't think the Giants are entirely out of it. I know they just traded for Darren Waller, but they have no big body outside X receiver. They have like 6 slot receivers and Darren Waller. So, I think maybe if you still want to kind of go in, spend it on this roster right now, maybe they are still in the fold. Teams that I know it's not what you ask, but teams that I don't actually think are super serious about it. I'm not really sure why the Buffalo Bills have been floated. I know they've talked to a handful of recent signings, not Odell Beckham Jr., but I believe they had a couple conversations with DJ Chark and other players of that nature. Maybe, again, they're interested at the right price point, but they just can't afford, from a cash or cap standpoint, $19 million. So, I think it's tough, though. I mean, Dallas being out of the market, I think, was the biggest potential player there. They needed that skill set, and I think that was a big loss in the market.
Yeah, we know this, Brad. Cardinals like this draft class. They don't love it. And so I think it makes sense then if you want to hold out post-draft and try to get picks into 2024, that doesn't hurt the Cardinals rebuild. It brings me into my next topic of conversation, which is the 3rd overall pick. And we were talking at the Combine about, Will Anderson, is he a generational prospect that you take at pick 3, even though there are offers to be made with quarterback-needy teams coming up? And you fast forward almost 2 months later, and what has come to fruition is the Cardinals desperately want to trade down. What do you see as a likely package for a team, whether it's Indianapolis, the Vegas Raiders, maybe the Tennessee Titans, to come up with the Arizona Cardinals, who, by and large, that Schefter tweet, I mean, they're open for business. They don't want to stick and pick at pick 3, right?
Yeah, no, when you put it out there that you've already talked to 6 teams, I think some people read that as, they're not getting strong offers. I mean, look, the Bears also made it clear that they were trying to trade down, right, and then I think got a phenomenal trade package. So it's really more just about getting all the bidders to bid against each other. If you're trading all the way down to Tennessee at 11, I can tell you they've had conversations with Tennessee. I don't know if it ultimately comes to fruition, but I mean, 11-3, you're going to get future first round picks in that trade. I think at 7 with Las Vegas, maybe the most realistic trade partner. I think you probably get 1 first-round pick in the future, but you're not getting, a crazy package at that point like a Tennessee. But really what it comes down to is, okay, if you're at 3, let's say hypothetically it goes quarterback, which I'm not sure if I believe anymore, but let's just say that's the case. And it's Anthony Richardson at 3. Do you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, and then whatever this 6th team is out there, are they all seriously interested? And I think they could be, right? The Colts, Seahawks, Lions, and then I mentioned the Raiders and the Titans. So if all of those teams are trying to vie for the services of this pick, then you get a bidding war, and then the price drives up. If it is the flip side, maybe you just settle. If you trade 1 spot with Indianapolis, it would look like the Mitchell Trubisky trade, which was, I want to say, 2/3. It was essentially the main haul they got back. Not bad. Those picks turned into Fred Warner and Alvin Kamara, which, and it was kind of hindsight analysis, but nevertheless, it really depends kind of how far you go. Yeah.
That's a fantastic insight here. You've got the latest at PFF.com from Brad, NFL General Manager, superlatives. I know you don't have much to work with here with Monty Austinford. He's cleaning up the mess left by Steve Keim, and he's kind of gearing towards the 2024 offseason. But what can you tell Cardinals fans, what this team is doing this offseason for the 2024 offseason with these 1- and 2-year deals, not a whole lot of guaranteed money? What should they expect maybe come post the 2023 season in the offseason?
Yeah, I think the patience is smart. I know it's never fun, and fans want their team to compete every single year, but realistically, the fastest path forward to contending is not really trying, again, not tanking, but not spending a ton and trying to go all out this offseason. So I like it. I think it was smart to have an offseason of contraction. Even the guys internally, Zach Allen's a fine player. Would I pay him $15.75 million per year? No. So I don't mind that move. So yeah, I think he's showing patience, which is smart. And I think you do want to see aggression, maybe moving a DeAndre Hopkins at the deadline or making some moves like later on as this tenure goes on next offseason as well. But I think he's been smart. And the trade down piece as well. I get that Will Anderson's a phenomenal prospect, Jalen Carter, yada, yada, yada. But I also think the smartest path forward is just get as many picks as possible. Like you said, maybe 2024 picks have more value in a better draft class. I think that's also sharp and a good sign so far.
So I want to go back to what you said about Houston potentially in relation to not picking a quarterback. What are you hearing with regard to that? And does that hurt or help the Cardinals situation at 3? Should the unthinkable happen and Houston's like, now we're good, we're just going to take a position player?
Yeah, so, look, it's obviously lying season and smokescreen season, all those things. But I was someone who thought and still want to believe that CJ Stroud goes first and Bryce Young goes second. But I have now had a couple conversations. I see the steam. I see all the reports. I'm not going to say I ignore them, but I like to gather information myself. And I finally have had a couple conversations now that the people that do think it is going to be Bryce Young first overall and that the Houston Texans are not interested in taking CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson or Will Levis or any of those guys. So I think Houston in that scenario either just takes Will Anderson second overall or they try to trade, and that would probably, hurt Arizona more so, is if Houston says, you know what, you got to jump ahead of Arizona as well. You got to jump ahead of Indianapolis. They're obviously in the same division as Indianapolis. So say, hey, you got to trade with us now. We're now the team trying to make this trade. That would hurt the most. And I think they'll explore it. But I would guess they might just take Will Anderson at that point, maybe consider if a guy falls to 12 or just get ready for the Caleb Williams, Drake May sweepstakes in 2024.
Wow.
How are we feeling about Caleb Williams' stock now that Cliff Kingsbury is going to get his hands on him?
I mean, hey, he had Patrick Mahomes go 10th overall somehow. So I don't think it's the greatest sign. Right. But, all jokes aside, I think, you and I could be the QB coach with Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams, and I think he'd still go first overall.
It's interesting. This team right now, we're infatuated with Will Anderson. We've kind of moved on from Jalen Carter, given everything off the field. It feels pretty safe to say Cardinals took him off their board. But if they do trade down that sweet spot, let's say 7 to 11, what are some fits that you like for this team? I mean, we know they like Christian Gonzalez, but is there an offensive lineman that you think makes a lot of sense value-wise, or a secondary edge rusher now that Will Anderson's off the board?
Yeah, in that range, I do think you're hoping that one of Christian Gonzalez or Devin Witherspoon is there, and I think you take either one. I'm a Gonzalez guy. I get why people love Witherspoon, but I think if you're betting on ceiling, betting on traits, all those things, and he still was a good college player, I lean Christian Gonzalez. And then for offensive line, I think Peter Skoronski might be the only guy to go top 10. I think it's, the tackle class is not viewed particularly well. I know some people say he must be a guard. I think even if you start him out at guard, you maybe see if he can play right tackle in a couple years. So I would actually love that for Arizona. Plug and play, immediate day one starter at left guard this year. Right, because Hernandez is right guard. Whatever spot is open.
They have no non-starters that.
Yeah, I know. I don't have that much. Yeah. He's in a battle with Dennis Daly and Camp. No, so you start him at guard, and then you kick him over to right tackle when Kelvin Beachum, calls it a career. I think that's a phenomenal, multi-year plan. So that would make a lot of sense. And then of course, I think Tyree Wilson maybe is still there. And heck, if Carter is there at 7, I think you could talk yourself into, okay, it was Rich at 3. It is a bit risky because we don't really have a culture and a foundation and veterans in place. So I think it is different to drop Jalen Carter on the Cardinals versus, you go to the Eagles and Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham are like, hey, buddy, this is how we do things around here. Yeah. It is different. But I think you could talk yourself into, hey, we might get the best prospect in the entire class at 7 after getting a bunch of extra capital.
Does unbelievable work over at Pro Football Focus. You have to check it out for yourself, pff.com. Of course, you got some draft day trades you wanted to see that you released a week ago. You had as far as 200 deep free agents. You got to check it out. Brad Spielberger, of course, PFF_Brad, for all the tremendous insight. This is the first time we've had you on when we've been back in AZ. It was awesome to catch up with you, Indy. Got to do it again soon, Brad.
Thanks, absolutely. Brad. Thanks for having me on.
There he goes, Brad Spielberger. I mean, Biggest thing there. I mean, obviously, a lot of questions we threw his way about DeAndre Hopkins. You feel any better about it now than you did before?
No.
You feel worse? You want to
I listen. I feel bad that potentially Houston could opt to be open for business and steal our precious picks. In that scenario, you have to take Will Anderson Jr. God, could you imagine those? But that to me, it still doesn't preclude you from trading with somebody else that wants Anthony Richardson. Like if somebody wants CJ Stroud,
the teams there are a lot of teams, and we've heard so far, you would think that the 6 teams that have inquired about the 3rd overall pick are just doing the math, and they're thinking it's Richardson, right? Yeah. Because all draft season long, unless there's been, it's the smokescreen that only, we're privy to, and the NFL insiders know better, it's going to go Stroud, Young. There are teams that would give up a lot for Bryce Young. They just don't believe that he's available, right? So if the opportunity presented itself, I think the Arizona Cardinals would still be in a very solid position, even if Houston, stick and pick, but a non-quarterback, or trade it out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think that should that even happen, the Cardinals are going to find a deal to be made with somebody else. I think we talked about it maybe yesterday or earlier this week, last week maybe. The Cardinals view Will Anderson and Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon and all these players in the same category. So if they can move back 1 to 2 spots and get a couple extra picks and still take one of those guys, that's a win for them. And you can instill the sense of urgency knowing that even if somebody comes up to 2, Indianapolis is still behind you. And there's a team that wants to jump Indy, presumably. You just got to assume that. Or you have to instill fear with Jim Irsay and company. So great stuff from Brad. We're going to talk about the Cardinals and Bo Brock. You got some great stuff today back for off-season workouts. But first, we got to tell you about our friends at BetMGM Sportsbook. We have teamed up with BetMGM, the great line at State Farm Stadium. Listen, Cardinals, they've won 1 home game there in the past, 17 months? But we're 1 for 1 this offseason with our friends at BetMGM. And coming next fall, I'm going to tell you right now, every single game day, every single Sunday, myself, Bo Brock, we're going to be there hanging out for Arizona Cardinal football. Watch-alongs, drink specials, parties all season long. If you don't want to pay for new season tickets, come hang with us instead, full free with our friends at BetMGM. And I'm going to do you one better. If you haven't signed up yet for the BetMGM Sportsbook app, use bonus code PHNX. You're going to get up to $200 in bonus bets on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, sign it up with that bonus code PHNX, place a pregame moneyline wager in the amount of at least 10 bones on any market at standard odds price. You're going to receive $200 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of the outcome of your wager. You could lose, money line, spread, whatever. Just make sure use that bonus code PHNX. And I tease this fall, how about I do you one better? Join us at BetMGM Sportsbook at State Farm Stadium for all Suns away playoff games. Suns are poised for a championship run. Do it with our friends at BetMGM Sportsbook and PHNX Suns watch parties. They're presented by Nutriol. It's going to feature food and drink specials, giveaways, pick up some fresh gear on the cheap for free. BetMGM deposit matches, whatever you want. Join us. Do so at BetMGM Sportsbook. And now you get to listen to my good friend Shane Diefenbach talk about it in the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
Hear about all those great events we're going to be doing come the fall in the 2023 NFL season. Cardinals game day with PHNX at BetMGM. But before then, we got a great event going down at Four Peaks. How about 2 weeks from Thursday? It's going to be our NFL first round draft party. PHNX Cardinals, PHNX Sports, and Four Peaks. We're hanging out together with you, celebrating the NFL draft. Are the Cardinals picking 3rd? Are they picking 7th? Are they picking 11th? Are they picking somewhere else? We don't know at this point, but we're going to find out together, and it's going to be unbelievable because we're going to be cheersing to the Cardinals, ushering in a new era with a big-time playmaker, whoever it may be. We're going to be clanking some glasses, maybe some kilt lifters, some Hop Knot IPA. How about the Joy Bus Wow, the #1 wheat in the state of Arizona? You got the Hazy, one of Johnny's favorites. You got the Sun Brew, which is an OG, or you got the Peach. You want something a little bit fruity? You can get your Peach Ale going on at Four Peaks. There's something for everyone. You want something smoother, maybe a little celebratory bourbon barrel beer? Go get one of those. That's what they have. They have the whole selection out there. It's crazy. Four Peaks is celebrating 25 years that they've been woven within the fabric of the great state of Arizona. Just like PHNX Sports, Four Peaks is here and part of the sports world here in AZ. It's crazy. Four Peaks and the D-backs have been around the same amount of years. That was a big year for the state. 25 years it gave birth to D-backs baseball in Four Peaks. Not to make it gross by saying it gave birth to, but
that's fine. You did.
25 years, and cheers to our draft party. Get your spot. Did I mention it's free? Free 99. Reserve your spot. We already have close to 50 people set to come see this draft party as of right now. Get your spot. Reserve it because they're going fast. Four Peaks, PHNX Sports. Got to be 21 years or older to enjoy the beer, but you don't have to be that old to just enjoy the vibes and the great food.
Starts at 2 p.m. You can find the RSVP list. Sign up for free at either at Bo Brack, at Johnny Venerable, at PHNX_Cardinals on Twitter.
You want to go, you can get in.
Yeah.
I don't mean to scare anybody off, but yeah,
we want you to come and party with us. And then we can find somebody to drive me home that night from Tempe to Maricopa.
Nobody's, not even an Uber is going to pick you up and take you to Maricopa.
I might just be sleeping in the streets of Tempe, baby. Rolling it right into day 2 of our coverage for the draft. I'll have to tell my wife, I guess I'll see you Saturday, honey. I'm never getting home, and I love it, and I can't wait to party with all of you. Bo, you got to kind of party with Jonathan Gannon and company this morning. Cardinals kicked off their offseason workouts, and no DeAndre Hopkins. We've covered that. But Kyler Murray was puttering around behind the scenes, working out. What else can you tell us, your main bullet points from really the start of the JG on the field era for the Redbirds?
Yeah, I mean, we got Kyler, the same insight from JG or Coach John G, as Zaven Collins likes to call him. Is that a new nickname for him? That's what Zaven was saying.
It's JG. Zaven always ruins everything. He didn't know what Culver's or Cold Stone Creamery was.
Right.
Now he's calling him John G.
Coach John G. Coach John G from Zaven Collins. But yeah, no D-Hop. He's in Houston. He'll be welcome back, according to JG, whenever he feels like he wants to show up. Kyler was there, but still no timetable. But then we get a timetable from Zach Ertz, the man himself, said,
okay,
you're targeting week 1. He says that would put him 10 months out from his surgery. He would have to see some time in training camp to make that a reality. So Zach Ertz, a couple weeks ahead of Kyler Murray just by when their injuries happened during the season. But Ertz aiming to open up the season on the Arizona Cardinals roster. I want to get in your thoughts on that after I kind of go through a couple of these bullet points and what it does for the Cardinals offense, potentially adding Ertz back. But you got a couple different scenarios, according to Gannon, that Monty Ossenfort every day talks to him. He joked about it. He's like, Monty's talking about this all the time. All he wants to do is roll scenarios out about the 3rd overall pick. So they're prepared for, a couple different scenarios on what direction they're going to go. And, you've got to think one sticking and picking, and then several scenarios as far as trading down out of the top 5, trading down out of the top 10, trading down outside the top 10. So you got several scenarios that this front office is discussing, and it has to get you excited that they're willing to do what's best for this organization. And then, the ugly, awful allegations surrounding this organization. Gannon's asked about it, and you kind of feel for a guy like Gannon, who wasn't around for when all these things and all these accusations allegedly happened, and he has to be the one answering questions about it. But he's focused on his team, and they're trying to separate themselves from the noise and focus on the job that they have to do. And it seems like he's hyper focused on that. And it's you have to hear a guy like Gannon have to answer for allegations that were levied against not him and not his guys. So
I'm gonna call out our guy Jose in the chat. We love you, my guy, but he's saying, first of all, Zaven ruins everything. Okay, Johnny, it was tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
and I think Zaven wants to be cool. I'm not sure if he's there yet. But then he also says, Bo asking softball questions. I guess Chris Long isn't so bad after all. Wow, tough critic. What did you want Bo Brock to ask and the media locally to ask? They asked about the NFLPA grades. We're going to talk about that. And like Gannon is a innocent bystander for all this. Like if that's Michael Bidwill up there, then you just let it rip. And I think kind of the unfortunate part is like Michael Bidwill hasn't made himself available. So he's kind of throwing his coach and his GM to the wolves a little bit. I'm sure Gannon, if you guys knew, they're so disconnected with what Michael Bidwill does on a day in and day out. Like Monty Ossenfort and Gannon now control the football operations. Like they call everything. So like everything since like mid-February when these guys got hired, they're running the show. They can't speak on the shit show that was this team for the past 18 months. And I don't think it's fair that we ask them those kind of questions. What are you going to do? What are you going to say? And so many in the fan base, we just want to move on. Oh my God, they're always in the tabloids. They're the TMZ of the NFL. I think if Michael Bidwill gets up there, you let it rip. Or should Bo and I ever get the opportunity to talk to Steve Kiper, somebody like that? Like Jonathan Gannon was with the Philadelphia Eagles 2 months ago. Monty Ossenfort was with Tennessee 2 months ago. Like it's weird to say, but these guys, first of all, they have no resume with this team, and they're about to build their first resume with this team. And I think that's what's exciting is like we haven't really seen their plan come to fruition, or at least start to come to fruition yet. They've signed some backups, some special teamers, but this is the chance. Like, and Bo, you guys talked about it. You asked, like, do you like Will Anderson? What's going on with Jalen Carter? And I think the non-committal stance by Gannon is expected. But at the same time, I also think that, you know, this team, they're not going to fall in love with any singular prospect because they understand. They look at this roster. They got their fingerprints all over this roster. They got their eyeballs on this roster today in person. I think that only kind of accelerates their need. Like, we need bodies. We need bodies of clay that are cheap that we can mold. And this is not Kim Dichie. You're rolling the dice because you think it's a Super Bowl roster. Let's bring him in 2016. Think of the opposite of that, where you need everything. And that's how they should operate. Because you look at this roster, it's one of the thinnest in the NFL.
I think it would be unfair to make a guy like Jonathan Gannon, Monty Ossenfort have to pay for the sins of their predecessors. Like why do they have to come? They're cleaning up the mess, and they're making even what's perceived as bad moves, even though people requested a full reset, and then they start cleaning house and they have to let go of a lot of people that were within those walls when things weren't going well. Things were going horribly, actually. And it's refreshing to see them put their fresh eyes on this organization that is just kind of, it's floundered for far too long. Like there just hasn't been any direction. It's been rudderless, and it's nice that they actually have what appear to be some very bright football minds coming in here and really getting their hands dirty and cleaning this thing up. That's positive to me. Now, people can sit there and you want to get in the mud about what went on before, sure, but I'm more interested in what this new regime is doing going forward. And I think that's what Jonathan Gannon, Monty Ossenfort, and crew are hyper focused on.
Yeah, I'm not going to dog on the new people who don't have an imprint on this roster yet. Like, I'm not going to be critical of what they've done or haven't done thus far. I mean, this podcast was adamant. You got to move on from Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim in December. And thankfully they did do that. And then they went through their vetting process. They're bringing in new staff, new administrators, new scouts, new strength and conditioning, coordinators and operators, right? New head trainer. I mean, they've gutted the football ops. And so we're 2.5 weeks now from them being able to execute their vision with players. And speaking of players, Bo Brock, there were some names that were absent. Was Isaiah Simmons at offseason workouts today? Are you familiar with the soon to be fourth-year star linebacker at practice today?
We did not get it. That question was not asked. That question was not answered. We don't have that. I do like Arizona Animal. What he wants from my future. He wants me to ask questions so hard. I'm escorted out by security. Yeah, let's do it. And then I see in the chat, was it Derek John wants us to be Philly media? I don't want to be Philly media. I think Philly media is like, what do we to just kind of crush coaches and stuff and just, ask questions just to get hard questions to get probably coaches dodging answers. I want to ask questions that I'm going to get an answer for because I want to know more insight about what's going on with this organization. I don't want to ask a question that they're going to say, I can't comment on that. I really don't.
This has gone off the rails. It makes me sad. You guys think there's softball questions being asked by your boy here.
I don't care.
Yeah, was Simmons there? We don't know, Trinell, but we're gonna find out because he has.
I agree. I think that's a drop ball. I think that there was a ton of questions that were asked today, and that's unfortunate. That, and the people are going to be probably upset that the uniform question wasn't.
Well, we know they're getting uniforms. I'm not saying let's put the uniforms to bed, but we asked them about uniforms at the combine, and you're going to get the same answer you got at the combine today. But we have it now sourced by a couple different people. They're getting new uniforms now. We don't know if Isaiah Simmons is getting his 5th-year option picked up. I'll tell you what I like to see, though. Hollywood Brown's in there getting after it and working, trying to ingratiate himself to this coaching staff, to this administration. He knows he wants a new contract this time next year. I think that's smart. I don't know if Hollywood's in their plans long-term. I would love to see Hollywood Brown at every single workout.
No doubt about it. Making $13 million this season. Yep. I was just bringing up some of the photos and some of the videos from the workouts that they just released because we didn't actually get to get our eyes on who was in there and see if I could see it. Isaiah Simmons.
Somebody said Jean-Paul Edward, our guy, said in his IG post he was working out with Micah Parsons at the Cards. He was with Hopkins like a day ago too. So I think he's still in
Can-Am, just running around in the mud.
I would say that's not a good sign. I think had your boy already had his 5th-year option picked up, maybe he's all smiles. They've wrapped their arms around him. I'm going to say this is the podcast that's told you for months upon months that they do not believe Isaiah Simmons is going to get his 5th-year option picked up. Then you've got guys like Devin Whiteball, Brock, asking to be traded. Do we need to now talk about the value of that position or how it's been devalued? I think that's interesting. What else I think is interesting, Bo Brock? So Kyler Murray's there. He's working out. And I got a little message today. I'm going to share this with the audience here. The relationship, JG Kyler Murray is strong. Let me just say that it's off to a good start.
So he talks to him every day.
Yeah, they know that they're counting on each other to win and do big things. And I'm not going to say everything else is secondary to that, but we saw firsthand what it was like to have a head coach and a quarterback not get along. Remember the Saints game, the one home game they won? They're barking at each other. Kyler, calm the fuck down. Remember that? I think that Kyler, I know this, has immense respect for Gannon and Petzing and Rallis. And I think you're going to see, well, we're already seeing it, a revitalized Kyler Murray that is out for blood to prove everybody wrong. And I'll tell you what, they talked about Colt McCoy's back and working out. That's good. But via our guy, Howard Balzer, go PHNX.com, he's going to be calling some, USFL games? Like he's kind of putting his foot into the media game a little bit. Does that concern you at all? It's like, is he going to be the starter for the season? Or is just K1 going to be the starter come September? I saw that today, Bo Brock, and I'm like, is that a little strange that the guy who potentially is going to be leading this team in September while Kyler Murray is out is going to be a color guy? And does that further my narrative that Kyler Murray could be back like ASAP? I'm looking through all the conspiracy theories, tinfoil hat Johnny coming out strong right now. I feel better and better. Kyler Murray's going to be ready sooner than people think.
I mean, there's a competition. It's not like Colt being the incumbent doesn't mean that he's going to be just gifted the starting job while Kyler Murray's away, right? So it's going to be a battle between him and David Blau.
Yeah. I didn't even factor that. I didn't even factor that in. I'm so sorry. Like I cannot.
I asked him straight. I asked Jonathan Gannon straight up. One of my softballs. I just said, "Hey, Jonathan, their quarterback competition between Blau and McCoy." He says they're competition for every spot. So, and then, you saw, I think that you could even make the case. I know Colt, he was just battered and bruised and beaten up last year. He's going to be another year older. He's going to be 37. The undisclosed, procedure, right? This offseason. So, David Blau could certainly, I could see a path.
David Blau makes.
I'm not saying it's great. I don't think it's not good for Cardinals fans, but the Magic Man could pull off the biggest trick of his career. And
that I have
start week one.
PTSD from that Hard Knocks clip of him doing magic tricks for Cliff Kingsbury when the season was lost and the building's on fire. I like this more. Han shot first. Dorian Robinson, DTR from UCLA, is going to be competing for the backup job. Fuck it. Just start him. They take Dorian Robinson, start him. Start him week 1. I don't care.
Did you watch any Pac-12 football?
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm a Pac-12
He was chaos.
Guy.
He was not consistent.
Bring on
he made a lot of bad passes.
David Blau makes me want to blow my lunch up because I'm not into that for
How dare
4
you?
weeks.
So disrespectful. We're going to have Blau and his brother-in-law on the roster next year, Christian Gonzalez.
I think if Colt loses out to Blau, then you need to cut Colt McCoy and try to save some cash. There's no point in having Colt McCoy on the roster. If he gets beat, if you look at them, you should be able to look at them in OTAs, and if Blau looks better than Colt McCoy, or at least comparable, Colt's making decent money. You need. I love Colt McCoy. You need to cut Colt McCoy if you're trying to save money.
If Kyler's not ready, you need a backup for Blau.
You need to draft somebody. They're going to draft a quarterback. They're going to draft a quarterback this year that's going to be on the roster. Patsy wants a quarterback.
That is a horrible quarterback contingency plan. Just so you know,
Everybody's got this team going 0-17.
I mean, Colt makes peanuts for quarterbacks.
He's making a couple $1 million.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, Andy Dalton probably makes way more than Colt McCoy.
They had an opportunity to sign a bunch of other players, quarterbacks. They wouldn't sign what's his name, Joshua Dobbs, for what, 1.5, and then Colt McCoy's going to be a backup to Blau, making like $2 or $3 million. And you cut Colt McCoy. We're going to disagree.
You need a backup.
I don't want Colt McCoy backing up David Blau. That does nothing for me.
I know. I'm sorry it doesn't do anything for you, but the organization.
I don't want that.
I know it's like the least attractive quarterback room maybe in the history of the game.
David Blau. Oh, man.
You got David Blaine Blau out there doing magic tricks, and you got Colt McCoy at 37 years old.
David Blau, can you make my owner disappear for a hot minute? I would love that.
After all this conversation, we need Mel Kiper's mock draft to revitalize this conversation, because this talk, bring in the righty, the gas throwing righty, because we're doing a dueling mock draft though. I thought. Okay, let's talk about this real quick then. Let's talk about what Mel Kiper's doing. So he released his mock draft today. You can check it out on all our socials, PHNX_Cardinals. But this is what he released. He had the Arizona Cardinals trading down with the Tennessee Titans. And this is a bit of a banger. He's got them trading the 3rd overall pick for the 11th overall pick, 41st overall pick, 2024 first rounder, and then either a first or second rounder in 2025. So you could potentially, with the swap, and then 2024 and then potentially 2025, you could be looking at 3 firsts. And then what he does with these picks, Cardinals took at 11. You got Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech edge, dropping out of the top 10 to 11. You got the Cardinals selecting TCU wide receiver Quentin Johnston, who met with the team today. And then you've got Michigan defensive lineman Dazzie Smith. That would be a fun draft.
If that happens and we're at 4 Peaks, I might do this for 4 hours. Somebody else is gonna have to broadcast for me. If we get Quentin Johnson at the top of the second, and say what you want about Tyree Wilson, if his Big 12 7-sack ass is saddled with multiple future firsts, I don't care if he's got 1 foot. Sign him up. He's our first pick. That is a haul. Good on you, Mel Kiper. You're not playing the Albert Breer game of just Cardinals. Just give away your good players for free. Right. And trade down, you get a compensatory 5th. Mel Kiper's playing in the real fucking world where there is a quarterback pack. Good on you, Mel Kiper. I'm fired up now after seeing that. I saw it this morning. I'm like, fuck yeah, Mel Kiper. You tell these teams.
People will be like, Quentin Johnston, he catches with his body, and he's a playmaker. He was one of the big reasons why Max Duggan went to New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony. He's a big-bodied wide receiver, speed. Why not? He would add diversity to that wide receiver room.
Albert Breer thinks the Cardinals are going to trade down and get a contingent 4th. That's what they think. They're going to get a 4th-round pick. Cardinals are going to go from 3 to 11, maybe a 4th and a future 7th. That sounds about fair, Cardinals. That's what you'll get. We're going to do – I love that mock. We're going to do our own mock, a dueling mock, and then you guys are going to tell us which one bangs harder. But first, I want to tell you, speaking of bangs, hello, Roman. Roman right now, listen, you guys have asked, and I'm going to tell
What a
you.
segue. What a transition.
Up to 50% of men have symptoms that get in the way of wanting or enjoying sex. Do you want a better sex life? If so, you're not alone, but Roman, thankfully, is here to help. Roman is the digital health clinic for men, addressing a variety of sexual health needs and offering genuine medication that helps achieve and maintain, get this, a strong erection. Roman offers discreet wipes, fantastic, to help you last, get this, up to 4 times longer in bed. Hello. In men with low T, aka low testosterone, getting your testosterone levels back up to a normal level can help you increase your libido. Roman offers a testosterone test, which, get this, guys and gals, includes lab processing. And if it's appropriate for you, treatment for that low testosterone. This is the best part, right? Do I got to go to a lab? Do I have to sit there for 5 hours on end? No, there's no waiting rooms. There's no hassle whatsoever. Super straightforward digital experience from the comfort of your own home. This is 2023. This isn't 1997. If medication or testing is appropriate, Roman will send a package for your package directly to your front door. Everything arrives in a discreet package, free 2-day shipping. It's fantastic. We've been asked about it. Roman is the place to be for an increased libido, better sexual health. To learn more about how you can achieve your personal sexual health goals, go to row.co/PHNX. Again, row.co/PHNX to get 20% off your entire first order. row.co/PHNX, Bo.
Tom Baum's already calling me a winner of the mock draft off, which I don't think he's wrong there. But whether you're mock drafting, whether you're hanging out at home watching Netflix, or you got the Fubo TV on, hanging out watching the D-backs game or Suns playoff game, or you're going to the movies, or you're hanging out poolside, whatever the situation, OGs, you can find an OGs gummy for that scenario, and you can improve whatever you're up to. OG's gummies, of course, Arizona's favorite cannabis kitchen. They are just cranking out delicious gummies for anything that your little heart desires to get into that day. Of course, they've got the indicas, they got the sativas, they've got the nighttime sleepy time gummy that'll help put you to sleep and keep you asleep. The aquaberry flavor, it's delicious and effective. But then you got the delicious flavors like the tropical flavors that they have, watermelon, raspberry, orange. How about your orange creamsicle or that strawberries and cream, that happy balance, that one-to-one balance that you're looking for? They've got it for it. ogsbrands.com to learn more about their incredible product line. That's ogsbrands.com, or check them out on your socials. Got to be 21 years or older. Even if you live in Maricopa, you can find a dispensary that has OGs. Check them out in Arizona. Any dispensary you'd like, they're probably carrying the great OGs gummies.
The sweet, sweet nectar. Topic 64, $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Topic 64, friend of the program. So we have the potential to pick 5 players within the first 3 rounds. I would say right now, that's the minimum. So they've got a first, a second, and 2/3, the compensatory third from Christian Kirk. Yes, that's the minimum. I would expect many more. And we'll see if we can secure many more. Dueling mock draft using the PFF simulator, PFF Brad, PFF simulator. Let's do it. Bo Brack, I'm going to give you the opportunity. Bo is going to go first.
Okay.
I'm going to share my screen.
All right.
I'm just like your.
Swear to God, if you pick any of the players,
I'm not going to
sabotage
Johnny tried to drive last time.
I know.
I'm driving. I'm fine. I'm fine.
I think that's why the person DM'd me. They said Johnny has to be stopped. So let's at least do dueling mock drafts so we can get your thoughts on it.
You guys tell me when you can see my screen. Bo Brack is on the wheel to begin this first mock draft.
All right, let's do this. Cardinals 7-round mock draft. Let's get in there, Johnny. I'm going to, of course, I think that the Cardinals should trade down. So let's take a look at which teams want to make a deal. So we've got the Seahawks there. No, screw the Seahawks. I'm not going to help them get better today. Let's look at who else is offering a trade in my my mock draft here. So are you going to click on the teams?
Yeah, I got. Well, no. Here, which team do you want to look at? Raiders, Falcons?
Yeah, give me the Raiders. I want to stay
Okay.
in the top 10. I want to pull off the trade in the top 10. So of course, 7's got to be there. A round 1 in 2024. Give me a round 1. Let's get crazy. Give me a round 1. Okay, take that off. Give me the second round pick.
Okay.
Give me the second round pick next year.
Ooh.
Let's pull it
This
off.
trade will not be accepted. You got almost a 30% chance. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You do you, my friend.
Okay. Give me the third round pick this year.
Not accepted.
Did you submit it?
No, it's telling me down here. It
Okay.
will not be
All
accepted.
right.
I'm trying to help you, bro.
I appreciate that. Okay. Let's pull it. Just submit that trade. That's not enough.
Well, you could do like this. Sneaky.
Yeah. Give it to me.
Add a couple dimes here. There you
All
go.
right. We got it done. Traded down with the Raiders. I got the second round pick. I got their first next year. I got a fourth and a fifth next year. Let's go. Let's go to work. So Christian Gonzalez just went off the board in front of me. Will Anderson Jr. just went off. I've got Jalen Carter. I've got Devin Witherspoon, Peter Skoronski, Tyree Wilson on the board. Give me the instinctive physical cornerback out of the Big Ten, Devin Witherspoon. You are an Arizona Cardinal.
Wow. I like it.
Got a premium position right out of the gates. Back on the board here. Man, Kincaid out of Utah fell very far down the board. Now that I got the defensive secondary, I've addressed that. Now I've got to start to address my defensive line. Uzamoa out of Kansas State.
Yep.
He's an edge I like. Ujulari is a good little edge. Let's go with the kid out of K-State.
Felix
the cat. All right, so here I'm using my second round pick that I got from the Raiders deal.
Tanner McKee. We should ask Brad why they love Tanner McKee.
Tanner McKee, always there, always available. Let's look at some offensive linemen here. Give me let me look at some tackles and some interior offensive linemen.
Sure. Let's filter here. Steve Avila is the top rated.
Put him on. You are a Cardinal.
Okay, I like it. It's gonna be a tough mock to beat, but I will definitely do it because I feel
like I'm just kind of in the zone right now. Go back to that. I want to see which centers are available.
Well, we just lost Whippler. He went pick 65. That hurt.
That's one that made me slam the table in my war room. I'm beside myself, pissed. Whippler went off the board. Can you put up the interior offensive line? So I've got the kid out of Wisconsin who looks like he hasn't seen some Clippers for far too long. But let's do it. Let's go with
Joe Tippmann. He's gonna demand a free breakfast if he doesn't get one at the Cardinals facility. He's gonna resort to violence. It's gonna be a problem for Michael Bidwill if old Joe doesn't get a free breakfast.
Our guy picking spreads, all caps. His keyboard, either his caps lock is stuck or he's losing it. All right, let's get into. Can I look at some edge rushers? I need some edge rushers.
Well, didn't you took one already?
I know, but I need some more edge love.
Can I interest you in a defensive end from Missouri?
I like KJ Henry more out of Clemson. I think.
Is that the pick?
Yeah, it's good. Is that?
I like that you're going. I like you're going big schools. Can I just say that? I may not love the players that you're taking, but I don't like small school bullshit with this team. So kudos on you.
Let's give me the kid out of NC State here, the guard, Chandler Zavala.
You're into my heart, man.
The trenches here.
I like it.
It's kind of unreal what I'm pulling off here.
I'm objective.
Hold on.
I like your mock draft so far.
I got a phone call. Monty? Yeah, I can start work tomorrow. Absolutely.
Can I have a free sandwich?
How many picks do I have left?
You've got 3 picks remaining, 168, 180, and 213.
All right. There's tremendous value here. If I wanted to just kind of manipulate the PFF grading system, I could take a guy like Johnson Jr., a safety out of Iowa State, or a Corey Trice, a corner out of Purdue. I'll take some defensive secondary. Give me Trice out of Purdue.
I like it. Although no running back yet, Bull Brock. You care to explain yourself?
Yeah, let's see who's available. Kind of weak, everybody. I've ignored the running back position. Still some interesting names there. Oh, look at Valladay all the way at the bottom. and I think he'll probably be an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, he's ranked 384. Don't let Shane Diefenbach see that.
Man.
Hey, this is pretty good value right there.
Yeah, give me Johnson Jr. at Iowa State. I've got one more pick left, correct?
Yes. Yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want with it.
Yeah. So I like to go either. Let's look at the cornerback or the quarterback position.
Okay. Oh no, it's your
There's
boy.
Stetson right there.
Yep.
Or let's look at the middle linebacker position.
Ooh. Let's do that.
Scroll down a little bit.
Sure. They worked out D Winters, I think.
Yeah.
And they
just give me Stetson. Let's just pull the trigger. Stetson. Saw him throw out the ceremonial first pitch for the Braves. Showed off a little bit of a little rocket arm. So let's see what I get.
I didn't hate it.
You loved it. There wasn't, and I agree with the chat. There wasn't a whole lot of love on the interior of the defensive line, and that's something that
finding out though that position group isn't that great.
No, it's not. They're grading my draft. What do we got overall here? I got an A for the trade. Look at my 8. I mean, this is the anti-team report card grades. A+, 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 A+. What's my overall grade? I can't see the logos in the way.
It's an A+.
It's an A+. Look at that.
All
right, Johnny, so what do you got, buddy?
Don't let this skew your decision, chat. Drafts are subjective. And so, we won't really know for a couple years out, but it's a nice haul for Bo Brack. Your boy's on the clock here.
Did you save my mock draft, or it's gone forever?
It is gone forever. We'll take a screen capture of it after the fact.
We'll take this YouTube
everybody
video.
Everybody just take it into stride what Bo did. Johnny's on the clock. It's time to get nuts. We like to get nuts. I'm not trading up. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud go 1-2. Your boy's going to trade down. I'm going to look at a team like the Detroit Lions because I think there's an outside shot I could still get Will Anderson Jr. should I trade down this far. So I'm going to get 6, and I'm going to ask for 18. And right now, they're saying that it's got a 55% chance to be accepted. Now, I don't know how realistic this is, but what's your opinion on this? What do you think about that? Is that enough by itself?
You would get an extra first this year. I love it. I hope it doesn't happen for the sake of my draft holding up against yours.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for 6, 18, and a third next year and a future third. Let's see if I can get it here. They said no. I'm going to take off a pick in 2025, offer it again, trade accepted. So Johnny has a future third from Detroit, but I got 2 1s this year. Let's ride. Let's go, baby. Buckle up. Shit. Will Anderson Jr. goes right before me.
We're basically in the same boat, right?
Right.
Same guys on the board for the most part. Jalen Carter, Devin Witherspoon, Skoronski.
Look at this face. I just can't trust this face. Skoronski at 6 is too rich. I'm going to get downgraded if I take Christian Gonzalez. I like Gonzalez more than Witherspoon. He's going to be my pick. I'm going to pick him.
I love it. I wish Gonzalez was on the board. I would have had probably made the same decision.
Ooh,
oh my gosh.
This is real tasty for your boy. Cansey, defensive line from Pittsburgh. Have you seen his workouts? Freak show. Now, this is tempting also. Darnell White right here out of Tennessee, who absolutely stonewalled Will Anderson Jr. But
how is he? What's the scouting report as far as sliding into the DMs? Not great.
No, not great. But look at this. I got a couple offensive lineman prospects here at pick 34. Anton Harrison, DeJuan Jones, Tanner McKee, of course, is hanging around, slumming around as he's known to do. I'm going to go, man, I'm going to go just the best tackle available. Harrison out of Oklahoma, Kyler Murray. He can be best friends. Maybe they can room together. Man, I'm just getting elite value all over this mock draft. Embarrassing Bo Brack every step of the way. Pick 66 now. I don't get those precious extra 2s and 3s that Bo got, but I did get 2 first-round talents this year. Nathaniel Dell, he's very small. He's not very big.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go interior offensive line, see what I can scrounge up. That's not terrible value, although you'd like to see something a little bit higher. How about a running back here? How about not really liking what I'm seeing there? I got a defense. Let's edge rusher maybe. Wisconsin edge rushers. I don't know. I'm not seeing the value. Receiver.
Are you poo-pooing J.J. Watt, the school that produced one of the greatest edge rushers in history of the game?
I'm going to steal something from you. I'm going to take the kid out of North Carolina State. This is a little bit of an overdraft, but I like him, and I like interior offensive linemen at the top of the third round.
Your grades are going to get crushed on that one.
I know, but I like the player, and I'm not going to force it. I'm not taking undersized corners.
Is slamming his keyboard that you passed on the Army edge rusher, Andre Carter the second.
I'm going to salute you and say I'm passing on him moving forward. Hodges Tomlinson here is my pick, 59 ranked at 96. Hell yes. Get a kid that played in the national championship. Coming back at pick 105, which is basically like a third-round pick. You love to see it. So Anthony Johnson Jr., that's good value. I'm going to go Dwayne McBride.
This is where my draft is going to separate itself from Johnny's draft. This is where I put up just unbelievable scores, and he's struggling to finish this thing out.
I'm not struggling. You keep interrupting me. All right, I'm taking the edge rusher from Missouri, Isaiah McGuire. I'm beefing up our front. I got a defensive tackle, which you ignored, and I got an edge rusher. Hell yes, and I have a tackle, and I have a guard. I do not have a center, so I'm looking into center in the 5th round. Maybe there's a value pick for me to exploit.
Johnny need filler over here. That's all you're doing. You're just filling needs, checking boxes.
Man, this is.
Did you get your center yet? I don't mind the kid out of Penn State.
I don't have a center. Let's take a look what we got going here. Don't tell me what to do. I'm going to pick my own players. Yeah, we're going to take the kid out of Penn State because I wanted to, not because you said I had to. Is this the greatest mock draft of all time? It's about to be. I don't want to copy Bo, but this is too good a value pick. This kid, at the worst, he can play special teams. Reminds me of Rashad Johnson, former Arizona Cardinals safety. Super smart, high intellect. Cardinals, they scout Purdue. Rondell Moore once upon a time in the 2nd round. I'm going to see if DTR, my boy at quarterback, is still available. He is not. The rest of these quarterbacks gross me out. No, thank you. I don't want any part of them. I'm going to look at a running back here. This kid, I remember watching this kid vaguely. I watched Thomas out of Utah a hot minute. So he's going to come, and he's going to be my last pick. My draft has concluded. I think it's steamrolled Bo Brack. He got an A+ from Pro Football Focus, which is egregious. We'll see what happens to me here. Again, you tell us after we see this grade what you think, who won the dueling mock drafts between Bo Brack, Johnny Venerable.
Producer Jacob, can we get a poll?
I have already submitted a poll in the chat.
All right, perfect.
All right. This is bullshit right here. That's bullshit. Also,
I told you, Zaval, he was going to get a bad grade.
D+. All right, so I got an A. Bo got an A+ because he played the hits.
Wow.
This is my I feel number 1 corner, impact defensive lineman, right tackle / left tackle, impact guard, secondary corner to Gonzalez. I got an edge rusher. I took a center late. I'm not trying to fill every need, but I don't have the benefit of future picks like Bo did, so you have to keep that in mind. So
yeah, I think that the trade I pulled off with the Raiders set not only did I ace this draft, but potential to ace future drafts where I don't think you set that up.
Well, I have to be convinced that Kancey is a generational prospect that I'm not going to have a chance to draft next year. And he was the 13th overall player, but I'm with you. I think your scenario is a little bit more realistic because I don't think the Cardinals want to operate in a sandbox of a bunch of picks this year and not next year. So, yeah, I'm already seeing it. Sorry, Johnny. Bo had the better draft. Johnny, don't look at the poll. All right. I thought I could trust you all. Now I'm going to make you guys buy me drinks now at 4 p.m. at the draft party. That was fun. We'll do it again. The dueling mock drafts. The first.
We're going to do another dueling one. We can certainly do that. I also want to do one. Maybe we'll even do it this week where you and I collaborate on a stick and pick draft because we haven't done that. We always trade down because we're pretty convinced that that's what's going to happen. What Monty Austinfort's eventually going to do.
Johnny.
Can we kick picking spreads out of the chat? I think he's gone too far. I think his
picking spreads is a draft savant, and I agree with his take.
I really do trust his insight.
Count tenfold.
That's why I want him out. He's gone.
Yeah. So what's the poll? Do we have the poll results, by the way?
I was wondering how long you guys wanted me to let this go, but Bo's kicking your ass.
Yeah,
Johnny.
Just call it off. Call off the fight.
I will end the poll right now. And with a dominating 74% of the
Oh
vote.
my God, you guys. Oh my
Bo,
God.
well, there's a random 1% that didn't get accounted for. Bo had 74%. Johnny had 25%.
Oh.
I don't know where the last
One-
percent went.
That tells
1%.
me Cardinal fans, they want future ones. They don't want. I thought 2 ones would be fun this year. I guess you guys don't like having fun.
I don't disagree with that.
Can you imagine having
just
2
kind of
4
shat your pants like later in the draft?
Don't fucking talk. Go to gophnx.com, become a diehard, and tune out Bo Brack. Listen to our guy Howard Balzer. Promo code PHNX. Promo code Howard HOWARD. Boosie saying Johnny should have traded down from 6. We had a rule. We didn't announce it. We only get 1 trade down. Better luck next week, Johnny. We will do this every week leading up to the draft. Bo wins the inaugural. Then we'll have 1 next week. And then if it calls for it, the best out of 3. So you need to vote for mine next week so we can do a third. But
just pick better.
All right.
Pick better picks.
I'm going to take Tanner McKee in the second round next time.
You're probably going to get a call from Fox, just like Steve Keim, like, hey, Johnny, would you want to join our draft coverage? We got Keim. We got other brilliant minds like yourself.
Don't put me in that bed. Don't put me in that category. I didn't work that hard to get, disrespected like that.
Yeah. Well, I earned my seat in the main recliner here at PHNX Sports. We got the full recliner section out there, but I get the best one because of my mock draft from More Furniture. You can get yourself a legit recliner right now for less than $500. They got the digital doorbusters going on, morefurniture.com. You don't want to miss out on these. Plus, they've got their spring sale going on where you can save on financing. You don't want to miss out. Check what's going on at More Furniture. The spring savings, you get the free white glove delivery with minimum purchase just under $1,000. Check out what they have. Bolster your living room, your bedroom, dining room, your kids' room, your office entertainment setups. You can do it with More Furniture. Like what I was able to pull off with the PFF draft simulator, you can do to your bedroom, your living room. You can make all the right decisions with More Furniture assisting you along the way. 72 months. You can get up to 72 months interest-free financing. Check out what's going on. morefurniture.com. Do it right now.
Dylan saying, I'm ready for an emergency pot. Brother, we've been ready all offseason, and they haven't given us a reason to do an emergency pot. Anton Harrison, though, the tackle I just took, by the way, atop the second round, visiting with the Cardinals today. How about that?
Very nice.
How about that? We're visiting with you all the rest of this week. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your podcast. Great stuff from our guy Brad at Pro Football Focus, breaking down DeAndre Hopkins. We're waiting on uniforms. We're waiting on a D-Hop trade. We're waiting on a trade down, but we're waiting on all of you also to go to your phones, smart devices right now. Click that follow button, PHNX Cardinals, wherever you get your podcast. Coming off our biggest month, we're going to make April our biggest month year over year because of all of you. If you have not done so already, go to our Twitters right now, at Bo Brack, at Johnny Venerable, RSVP for the PHNX Cardinals draft party, April 27th at Four Peaks in Tempe. For Bo Brack, I'm Johnny Venerable. We're back tomorrow. Peace.